One of the most common claims that I hear from atheists is this claim that if you are going to give us evidence, we will be open to those new information that we are not yet aware of till now, and we will convert our religion and become theist. This can also happen to anyone from any religion, right? This can happen for any person from any religion. On the onset, it appears like he is an open-minded person, and it appears like that person is actually willing to follow where the evidence is going to lead. But unfortunately, studies after studies about human psychology and human mindset has shown that all human beings suffer from something called as bias. There are different types of bias, and most common that you will find is the confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is that simply this primal idea in your brain that prevents you from accepting any idea or concept or belief that is going to contradict what it has already been believing for a period of time. This is one of the reasons why you will find that, at least in the past, maybe not in the recent trends, but in the past, change of religion did not happen after the age of 40 or 50. Whether it is from the theist to atheist side or atheist to theist side or from different religions, that change of religion conversion did not happen significantly after the age of 40 to 50. That trend is changing in recent times, but that's a different story. But predominantly, our mind will not allow us to accept the idea that is contradicting what it is already believing. So this kind of a bias is universal to all human beings, whether you are a theist or an atheist. So when a person claims that he is going to be willing to follow the evidence, that claim alone doesn't mean anything. That claim alone, that idea of proclamation that I will accept when the evidence is presented to me, that idea alone doesn't mean anything at all. So what can we do to avoid this bias? There are certain ways by which we can avoid these things. It is similar to any other management issues, right? You have to have audits, you have to have checkpoints, checklists, so on and so forth. In that kind of an attitude, you are an atheist and you want to claim that you are willing to follow where the evidence leads. Here is what you have to do. The first step that you should do is define your criteria. This has been a question that I always ask to many of the internet atheists and the atheists that I meet in real life too, but I never get any answer to this. They always go about like, I don't know, you just give me the evidence that you have. No, it doesn't really work out that way. Because of the fact that our brain has confirmation bias, whatever evidence that is presented to it that contradicts whatever it is already believing, it will reject it by some reason or the other. You will always have some reason or the other to reject evidence when you are not willing to change your mind. Now again, just an appeal, just a claim that I am willing to change my mind doesn't change anything. What you should do, as I said, is to have checkpoints and checklists. Basically, first thing is you should avoid any kind of logical fallacies. I have seen atheists do this all the time. Whenever a theistic person is committing a logical fallacy, they can clearly point it out. They will clearly know this is wrong. But when they are themselves doing it, they are not able to understand. So it is necessary that when you are trying to analyze the whole issue of religion, theism and so on, you should make sure that you are not committing any fallacies. Fallacies like appeal to number, appeal to authority fallacy, appeal to popularity. These things are very common among the religious people, but unfortunately I find that this is also common among the atheists. And also there are also studies to show that it is not necessarily true that the atheists are somehow immune to this confirmation bias. This idea that somehow they are in a better position of cognition or better position of rationality, so that they are not within this problem of confirmation bias is just a lie. It doesn't really come out in any of the studies. In fact, there are studies to show that the same side bias among the atheists was more than that of the theists, especially Christians. So it was found that the theists were able to recognize that they could be biased. They were willing to admit they could be biased, but the atheists were not able to recognize that they could be biased. So this kind of a contradictory finding is predominant in most of the studies, and it is universal that all human beings have bias. So when you are going to go to a theist and claim that if you want to make me a theist, you have to give me evidence, rather than just asking for the evidence alone, you need to set criteria based on which you will accept or reject that particular idea or belief. If you do not set that criteria, you are prone to bias. Whether you are an atheist or a theist, trying to consider another religion, whatever it is, if you don't set the criteria on what basis you will accept or reject a particular religion and idea, you are bound to be held on by your own bias.